Hello, Clarion, and welcome to another edition of Off the Bench, the best sports show in Pennsylvania, I must say. As always, with me is my co-host, Alex Kazor. What's going on, man?
Not much. Just excited to be here.
Excited to talk about some sports?
Of course.
All right. And with us, first-timer, Jen Linkhorst. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I was kind of paranoid about pronouncing your last name.
I know, it's a tricky one.
All right, well, let's jump right into it, okay? First thing is the hot topics. The NBA lockout. I mean, they already canceled some preseason games here. And I wanted to ask you guys, do you think it's kind of a publicity thing or is something the backlash of the NFL lockout? Like, what do you think's going on with the NBA, Alex?
Well, if it is a publicity stunt, it's not working.
No.
I mean, like you said, they've canceled 43 games, parts of training camp. I think the major difference, and we talked about this before the show, is that in the NBA, the players can say they can take their ball and they can go overseas.
Yeah, they can go overseas.
They can go to Europe, they can go to China, something the NFL couldn't do. So the NBA...
You're not going to downgrade and go to CFL or Arena Football League.
Right, so the NBA loses a lot of leverage in talks.
Jen, what do you think about this NBA lockout right now?
I think it's to the point where it's getting annoying.
Yeah.
It's going on month 3, I think, and it's just time for them to make a decision, make some progress. It's being drawn out.
Yeah. Get this thing dealt with. You don't want the thing that happened with the NFL. It got so close to game. I mean, their preseason was, not the preseason, but camp was cut. Teams didn't have time to prepare as usual, and that's what I think we're going into the lack of preparation in the NFL season. And like you said, the NBA stars, some of them have went overseas already, and I think a few more would if they got that check's big enough to publicity, the TV rating thing, everything. Them overseas teams are drooling for them NBA players to come over there. So the NBA better fix this thing fast because I don't think the future is bright for them.
Right.
Moving on now to some baseball. Boston and Tampa are now tied in the American League wild card. Boston hasn't been looking so hot, but Tampa, on the other hand, has. Who do you guys got winning the wild card, Alex?
I think it has to be Tampa. I mean, like you said, Boston's just in a big slump right now. They're playing the Orioles, who have been 10-4 since September 13th. Just about all the pressure that you're going to have up in the Boston area. You're hearing about that every day. The players are always being asked about it. You don't have that kind of pressure in Tampa, and Tampa has the momentum, and that's all that matters at this time. I
agree with you. Jen, what's going on with Boston?
I'm also going to take Tampa Bay in this. I think that, Tampa Bay didn't have a great record in September, but Boston had an even worse record in September. So I'm taking Tampa Bay. I
also had to pick Tampa just because I feel like Boston is really under more pressure. I mean, they're starting to panic. Their bats just aren't hitting the balls. Their pitchers just aren't throwing it as hard as they were coming into the postseason. And Tampa Bay's just kind of picking up wins slowly but surely. They won last night against the Yankees. Actually, before we came in, we checked the score. Boston was down 1-0 to Baltimore already. So I'm not sure that they're going to take this. Now, if they both win, they'll go to an American League kind of mini playoff where they'll play one game and see. That would be kind of interesting to see, but I'm going with Tampa. All right, next topic, Sidney Crosby. Sid the Kid has actually practiced in a, they called it a controlled scrimmage. So what does this say about his future for the Pens? Will we see him sooner than later, Alex?
I don't know what it says because he has to do this. He has to go through practice and then see how his
He's been out since January.
Right. I mean, it's a matter of you have to go through rest and show no symptoms, and you have to go through exertion and show no symptoms. So let's see how he responds to this and take it from there. It's really a step-by-step process.
Yeah. Jen, what do you think about Sid the Kid actually practicing the scrimmages now?
I think they need to be careful with him. You definitely don't want to make the situation worse than it is and was. But I think they're going to struggle without him in the beginning. He's their main guy. He's their main player. So it's going to be a struggle for them at the beginning. Yeah,
the Pens have been undefeated so far in the preseason, but I would love to see Sid the Kid get back on the ice for us because we just know how much of a weapon he is for our offense. And the sooner, the better for us because I want to be one of the top contenders. The Pens need to go deep into the season. I hated the way the season ended last year, but we'll see. Only time will tell.
It is comforting that we're going to have Evgeny Malkin back.
Playing well, so because he was, his knee
ACL,
or something?
Yes.
Yeah, his knee that he had messed up. So we got to stay healthy is the main point.
Exactly.
We're going to shoot it to our first commercial break, but don't touch that remote nor go anywhere because you're watching the best sports show, Off the Bench.
New to Clarion, Cell Block is the place to be for adults 18 and over. Drink specials are cheap, and there's a variety to choose from every day of the week. Wednesdays are 18 to party, 21 to drink night, where you can dance and enjoy music with your friends. New bands perform every Thursday with live DJs every Friday and Saturday. Specials include Tuesday's wing nights and pong tournaments with a cash prize of $50. For more information, check out their Facebook page or stop by Cell Block located at 1056 East Main Street, where Clarion's nightlife has never been the same.
So my uncle calls and he says he's dizzy and he's losing his balance. I'm like, Unc, you want me to take you to a doctor? He's like, no, I'm going to look up the symptoms. I said, your symptoms are you're dizzy and you're losing your balance. So he said, I can't get on the internet because my arm is numb. I said, well, use your good arm and dial 911. Stroke's no joke. If you or someone you love is showing symptoms of stroke, don't wait because it might be too late. Dial 911. Time lost is brain lost.
Sage Meadow, located at 507 Main Street, is Clarion's only full-service, natural, organic food store. They offer groceries, vitamins, herbs, home cleaning, and beauty products. Sage Meadow supports farmers by only selling locally grown produce and other items such as honey, maple syrup, and coffee. A complete line of products for gluten-free, dairy-intolerant diets, vegetarians, and vegans are also available. Sage Meadow can also fill specialty orders upon your request. Should you need to pay your local utility bill or purchase a lottery ticket, we are an authorized location.
And welcome back to Off the Bench. We're now going to jump into some college football. It was an exciting weekend for college football. We got a new number one, but we'll get into that a little later on in the show. First topic in this block, the SEC accepts Texas A&M as its 13th member. So I just want to know, are we slowly moving to 4 power conferences and maybe eventually a playoff for the college football? Alex, what do you think about it?
We definitely are going to the super conferences. You look at conferences like the WAC, the Big East, they're just, there's no teams left.
Out.
It is absolutely brutal. Now, in terms of a playoff, I know that the fans want it. I know the owners don't want it because of the money issues. If there is a playoff, there are some logistics to work through. How many teams are going to make the playoffs? Will there still be bowl games? So it is possible, but there's a lot that has to be worked through first.
Jen, what do you think about the 4 power conferences and maybe a college playoff?
I think they are moving to that direction. I also think it's the aim of the athletic directors as well, as coaches maybe. I think they want their own playoffs. They want to do their own thing separate from the NCAA, and I think it's headed that way.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think that we should get to the 4 power conferences, and we should have a tournament within each conference. So the 2 teams, like say in the SEC, the ACC, will battle off, and then we kind of have like a Final 4 in college football. That would be something exciting to look at, but that's just my opinion. I'm a broadcast student at Clarion University, but I think my opinion does count and matter. So slowly but surely, and as far as the playoff thing goes, I just think it would bring even though college football postseason is already a highly tuned-in event, if we could get that, it would skyrocket. I really think that the TV things, endorsements, advertisements, everything would just actually for the owners increase, but they're not seeing it that way. But maybe sooner than later that we could get that worked out.
It'd be awesome to have.
Yeah, that'd be awesome to have.
It'd bring a lot more excitement to the schools themselves.
Exactly.
I mean, the students have something to look forward to.
Because then the smaller schools have actually a chance to make it. But moving on now to the next topic. There is a new number one in college football, and it's LSU, who I've been picking here on this show for the last couple weeks now. I just want to know, do you think the BCS polls got it right? And who's your top 3 college schools right now? Alex?
Well, I've been picking against LSU every week, so I've been wrong so far. But I have to give credit to LSU. They've beaten 3 ranked teams, the last 2 on the road. Their quarterback play is doing well. The running game is great. The defense has been top-notch. In terms of the top 3, it's tough for me to say because it's early in the year, but I like LSU, Oklahoma State. Can't forget about Stanford. So it's early, but those are my top 3.
So, Jen, what do you think about the BCS? Did they get it right? And who's your top 3 schools right now?
I think they did get it right with LSU. Just looking at the teams they've beaten and how they've played, I think they deserve that number 1 spot. And my teams, I have LSU number 1, Oklahoma number 2, and Bama number 3.
Oh, nice top 3. Mine is kind of similar to that. I do think they got it correct because, of course, I've been on the LSU bandwagon ever since they beat Oregon, which I didn't pick them in that game. So I have LSU, Oklahoma, and also Alabama. I mean, of course, Stanford's a close competitor in that one. Oregon State is now moving up in the ranks, so you just never know. I think LSU is going to come down to that last game of the season when they play Alabama, and whoever wins that game, one of them teams will be in the national championship. It's just going to happen.
Is there anything better than SEC football?
There really isn't.
It is top-notch every week.
I mean, every defender on LSU will be going to the NFL, and the same for Alabama, I can say. So, hey. Up next now, this next topic, it's just crazy. Now, the Toledo Rockets went up against the Syracuse this past Saturday, and the game came down to a field goal. Syracuse supposedly made the field goal. It went under review. The refs called it that it was good during the game, but then after the game they went back and actually seen that the field goal was no good. And there's actually no rule or anything that the NCAA has to go back and give Toledo the win. And I just want to know your opinion on whether should the NCAA kind of bend the rule or get new rules if they have hardcore evidence on that the team actually didn't win, Alex.
Well, it's crushing for Toledo.
Yeah.
You got to credit they fought hard all game. They had a hard loss to Ohio State a couple weeks ago. But there's nothing you can do. You can't set that kind of precedent of reversing wins, losses after the fact. It's just unfortunate, but there's nothing you can do at this point.
Jen, what is your opinion on this? This is just like a bittersweet situation for Toledo.
Yeah, I mean, they absolutely cannot go back and change the call.
Yeah.
I mean, every game, no matter what the sport is, there's always a bad call. Some are worse than others, like this one. But if they went back and changed it, that just opens up a can of worms.
Yeah, they would have to go back and actually try to change probably plenty other games too.
Right.
It's just crazy. When I read the story on ESPN this morning, I'm like, wow, for the referees to go back and admit that they got it wrong. I just think they were leaning to the bigger schools, being Syracuse. I mean, Toledo's a MAC school. They don't get that much recognition nor credit. So when situations come down where it could go either or, I think the ball always rolls to the bigger school. And they just got the short end of the stick. And it's sad to say because you go hard for the whole 60 minutes and then for the refs to determine the win. I mean, it's just messed up for Toledo. And it's too bad that the NCAA doesn't have a rule where they could go back and fix it. I wouldn't even feel right getting a victory a day later. Like,
right, it doesn't feel like a win.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a win. That's going to do it for the college block. We're going to shoot it to another short commercial break. Don't go far. You're watching Off the Bench.
2 out of 3 people with diabetes die of heart attack or stroke. That was his wake-up call. This is yours. Ask your healthcare provider how you can lower the risk. To learn more, go to diabetesactnow.org.
Looking for a great time at a cheap price? Then come to Toby Hill Bar and Grill. There's a wide selection of beer and cheap food. Walk-ins, groups, and takeout are welcome. Specials include Taco Tuesday and Wednesday's wings. Open mic night is every Thursday, and Fridays are band nights. Toby Hill is a laid-back atmosphere where you can hang out with your friends and watch the big game with no cover charge. So come and enjoy the atmosphere of music, games, and fun. Toby Hill Bar and Grill, located at 28 North 5th Avenue. Open Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 2 a.m., and Sunday, 12 p.m. to 2 a.m.
And welcome back to Off the Bench. We're now going to jump into the most important block, I would have to say, which is NFL football. First topic, Monday Night Football. The Cowboys defeat the Redskins last night without scoring a touchdown. I mean, their kicker basically won the game for them. What does this say about the Cowboys, and what does this say about the Redskins, who were undefeated coming into this game, Alex?
Well, it shows a lot of toughness from the Cowboys, which is something we don't usually associate with Dallas. We usually see them collapsing in games. This time they're pulling it off. I mean, all the injuries to Romo, to the offensive line being in disarray.
Daz Brown was banged up.
Right, a lot of toughness from Dallas. Washington, that's the Washington team I know. That's who I thought they would be coming into the year. So, Grossman struggled, the running game